What's going on, fellas? Welcome back to the stream as a part of our essentially daily stream where we stream every single day during the week at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is what you're watching now, obviously. And when we also stream on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. So, ever since we spoke last, not too much news came out or anything, but what did happen was the UFC press conference. Let me just get situated quickly. All right. There we go. We'll set that. Yeah. So the press conference went down today. It was pretty good, I would say, for press conference standards. Usually, as of late, all these press conferences kind of suck, just because they kind of ask like dumb questions. There's usually no beef between these fighters anymore, and they kind of stink. But at least for today, it was a little bit better. The crowd was really good. There were some good moments, I guess, but for the most part, it's kind of just whatever. But some takeaways that I took from this press conference is the thing earlier on in the week that was going around between Hamzat and DDP, and it seemed like Hamzat was like significantly taller and bigger than Dricus was. That obviously wasn't true. I think Dricus is actually the bigger fighter. Hamzat is probably like an inch taller, maybe half an inch taller, but DDP is a lot thicker. So Dricus is the bigger fighter out of the two. Even though that camera angle looked weird, but it's kind of just funny seeing that go around on X earlier on in the week. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. What's going on, MB? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, so I guess it's the first takeaway that Dricus is probably the bigger fighter. And the other takeaway I had from it is actually a guy who I picked to win. I made a video about it. Aaron Pico looked a little bit nervous to me. Now, how much is that going to matter? I don't really know. We see a lot of guys look not tired, look nervous walking out to fights, looking nervous, even sometimes at the press conferences. Not as common on press conferences, but sometimes when you see these guys nervous, it doesn't actually play out. It's not a good visual. It's definitely not. You would like to see a fighter that you think is going to win, confident in the press conference and confident walking out to the fight. But listen, it happens. Everybody's human. It doesn't mean that he's going to have a bad performance or anything, or it doesn't mean he's going to lose in this specific case or in any other case. So, well, we'll see what happens. But that is a takeaway that I took. I thought he did look kind of nervous personally. DDP versus crowd. Yeah, I was a little surprised how one-sided the crowd was. There was like one moment where a couple guys were chanting for DDP, but for the most part, it was a very Hamzat-centric crowd, which was interesting to me. But yeah, that's what it is. DDP has definitely went up against this in the past, where he was not the fan favorite, and honestly, a lot of his fights. So it's nothing new for him. But we'll see what happens. It's, as I said, it's an amazing fight. I'm really excited about it, regardless of who side the crowd's on. It's going to be a great fight. The crowd seems like it's a great crowd, so I'm excited about that as well. Just can't wait to get to the fight. We're almost there, boys. Just a couple more days, and we'll be there. Aaron Pico was really nervous. Yeah, he actually did look really nervous. But as I said, is that going to mean anything in the fight? I guess we'll see. It potentially could, but I guess we'll see. But in my opinion, I lean on the side that it probably won't matter that much. Chicago did not welcome GDP because let's go. Bilal's got a stranglehold over there. Let's go. Rick Allen, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Did you change your tag? Yep, I changed it from DDP to DDP. Man, Rick Allen's legend. I was hoping the trash talk from yeah. I was kind of hoping for trash talk from anybody, but it just seems like, these press conferences lately, nobody really trash talks anymore. The days of Conor McGregor trash talking or anybody else for that matter is kind of gone. It seemed like Dricus was like the only guy that was kind of doing it in a different way than Conor, but he was kind of doing it. But even in this fight, he didn't really have anything to say negatively against Hamzat. No trash talk, no real he wasn't really trying to even get in the head of Hamzat or anything like that. So whatever. But the fight is going to sell itself, as he said. So I'm definitely really excited for it. You're going to change it to Shemai before Saturday? Nope. Rick, why are you so negative, bro? It's hilarious. The press conference was way shorter, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of just like whatever. If I'm doing nothing and it's on, yeah, I'll watch it. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch it. I did watch this one because I was kind of just free. But press conferences don't really mean much for the fight. They're also not that entertaining anymore, unfortunately. As I said, those Conor McGregor press conferences are not really around anymore, unfortunately. But as I said, this fight is going to sell itself. So it'll be good. Um, Rick Allen, if you think it's negative, you haven't seen nothing yet, homie. Let's go. Bring it on, Rick Allen. Bring it on. Uh, Rick Allen is he's been here for a while. I do appreciate it. He is our leading troll for sure. But I appreciate it. Thanks for being here, Rick Allen. Um, but yeah, exciting stuff, boys. Definitely exciting stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, it's as I said, it's fight week. There was a couple of fight additions to the card. Hamzat's teammate was added to the card. There was also a couple fight pullouts. So the Ultimate Fighter fight that was supposed to be on the card was actually canceled. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Also, Bobby Green or King Green versus Diego Ferreira is off with King Green needing to pull out. So whatever. Honestly, I don't think that fight really sold many tickets anyway. To me personally, it wasn't really a fight that I was looking forward to. King Green is kind of just washed in my opinion at this point, and Diego Ferreira is like, I think he's a solid fighter, but he's also a little bit older at this point. So kind of whatever. And for the Ultimate Fighter fight, like, yeah, I would have liked to seen that on the card, but it's not that big of a deal. The card is still amazing. As I said, you wouldn't love to see the fight pullouts, but the card is still great. It's really cool to see Hamzat's teammate on the card. That's actually a really good addition. I think he's a great fighter. And the rest of it is great. As I said, main card and prelims. You ever been to Chicago, bro? No, I haven't. Topuria versus Paddy press. Yeah, I agree. That would actually be a good press conference. That's one I agree with. I kind of want to see it. Like, listen, from a fairness perspective, it should be Arman versus Topuria, but part of me honestly does want to just see the Paddy versus Topuria fight, just because, as I said this a bunch of times, but if Topuria fights Arman next, or if he fights Gaethje next, or Paddy next, after he beats those guys, which I believe he would beat all three of those guys, I think he's just going to move up immediately. I don't think he's going to look for 2 title defenses or 3 title defenses at 155. I think he's just going to move up immediately to 170, and yeah, and then just try to fight Islam or JDM if JDM does beat Islam. But I think that's what he wants to do at this point. I don't think he's interested in getting a bunch of title defenses. I think he's just interested in being a 3-division champ and beating the best names along the process or along the way. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I have heard a lot more rumors of Arman getting the shot next, but also there's been some rumors of Gaethje getting the shot next versus Topuria. So I think at this point, we honestly just don't know what's going to happen. And I guess we'll just wait and see who they decide to give Topuria, or if they actually decide to do a number one contenders fight between Gaethje and Paddy. We don't really know at this point, or maybe even Paddy and Arman. We don't know, but we'll see. But the press conference would be great. You call me trolling again? Let's go, Rick Allen. Let's go. But yeah, but that's kind of that's kind of the situation. We honestly really don't know. There's a lot of good matchups. As I said, Topuria is a really fun fighter, and no matter who he fights, it's going to be a fun fight. And as I said, I think his real goal at this point is just to move up and fight at 170. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's next for Ilia Topuria. But yeah. I mean, listen, when you look at this card specifically, which is a couple days away at this point, which is exciting, Dricus and Hamzat's a great one. That's a fight that everybody's going to be talking about. I think it is a close fight. I don't know exactly what the odds have it. It's kind of been fluctuating a lot throughout the week. Let's see what it is currently at this point. Let's see. Yeah, so it's fluctuating again. Right now, Dricus is a plus 196. Earlier on in the week, he was a plus 150. So honestly, pretty significant movement, a line movement between earlier on the week and now. But yeah, so that's what we have for Dricus, and Hamzat's a minus 260 for this fight. So definitely interesting. Then Lerone Murphy and Aaron Pico, there's also been some line movement there. Aaron Pico was honestly almost a minus 200 earlier on in the week. Right now, he's minus 170. So that's interesting. I do think there's honestly a good amount of value on this card if you are betting. But if you're not, as I said, it's just going to be a fun card. So should be good. Should be good for sure. And yeah, just counting down the days until we get there, boys. Just counting down the days. But should be good, fellas. Definitely should be good. But yeah. Sarab minus 900. Yeah, I don't really know much about his opponent. I guess we'll see. But what I've seen, it's been short. But what I've seen from him, Sarayev, Susarayev, he looks really, really good. He showed a good ability to stop takedowns. He also showed a really good ability to strike. That front kick up the middle was nice. Obviously, as I said, we didn't see a lot of him on the Contender Series. It was a relatively quick finish, but it does seem like this guy is legit, and we'll see how he looks in this matchup. His first matchup in the UFC. But as I said, if I had to guess, I think he'll look pretty good. Now, minus 900 for a guy fighting on 4 days' notice for his first fight in the UFC is interesting, but I think he's going to be fine. But we'll see how his opponent looks. He was a champion in a different organization. I don't know exactly where, but he was a champion in a different organization, so that has to count for something. And we'll see. What is this? I just got. I was just checking through Twitter to see if there's any new news or anything. But the first thing that came up is CM Punk is expected to be shown in the live broadcast. Like, okay, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, it's honestly all just about the fight itself, the card itself. So we shall see. But to reiterate, in terms of bets, just to reiterate which bets I like for this weekend. We are close enough now that props are out. But in terms of money lines, I like Ruzaboyev money line. I think you're getting a pretty good number, plus 138, against a guy for a guy who has a lot of power and fighting a guy who gets hit quite a bit in Brian Battle. And Ruzaboyev is going to be a lot bigger than Brian Battle is. So I kind of like the value there. I also like the value here, minus 142 Edson Barbosa against Drakkar Klose. I know Barbosa is a million years old, but it does kind of feel like he's on rocket fuel, and he's still looking pretty good at this point. So I personally like Edson Barbosa here at minus 142. I think he's good. Then you have what other value do I like here? I also like the value here, plus 190 on Gerald Meerschaert. But honestly, probably what I'm personally going to do is just take Gerald Meerschaert round 2 and round 3 submission instead of money line. This is probably what I'm going to do at plus 1,500 and plus 2,200 respectively. I think it's pretty good value. And for Meerschaert, usually what he does out there is in the first round, he's half asleep. So there is a possibility that Olajaychuk just lands a big left hand and knocks Meerschaert out. It's definitely possible. I wouldn't honestly be shocked even if it happened. But the thing with Gerald is he does get good with time. So once you get to the second round, and especially once you get to the third round, he really starts to get things going. And I do believe in this matchup specifically, he does have a pretty big edge and advantage on the ground over Olajaychuk. So I do think round 2 or round 3 submission is probably a good one. Usually is for Meerschaert, and I think this fight is also a pretty good opportunity for that. Yeah, so Sosadive is minus 900. No props out yet for that fight, so of course no value on that. Other bet I like is this. Actually, I really like this play, plus 158 for Jared Cannonier. I know MVP at range is really difficult to deal with, and I think Jared Cannonier would have issues if he does fight MVP at range. It's just the thing is, I think he's probably going to pressure and clinch MVP a lot, and we're going to see a similar fight to Whitaker versus RDR, where RDR was kind of just holding Whitaker alongside the cage, landing knees and landing elbows. I think we could see a very similar thing in this fight between Cannonier and MVP. I guess we'll see, but that's kind of what I expect to happen in that fight. And then this one is kind of interesting. So I just put out a video today how why I think Aaron Pico is going to win, but the value here is interesting at minus 170, just because Lerone Murphy is undefeated. He's had some pretty good wins in the UFC, and Aaron Pico is coming over from the PFL, and Lerone's going to be his biggest test yet. So minus 170 probably is a little bit rich for me, but as I said, I do think Pico is going to win the fight. And then obviously for the main event, I definitely am going to take Dricus money line. And the other plays that I like is round 4 and round 5 TKO for Dricus at plus 3,000 and plus 3,500 respectively. Now there might be some props that I'm missing that maybe I'll like, and I'll update you guys on it tomorrow. But at this point, those are kind of the plays I like for this weekend. Honestly, a decent amount of plays that I actually do like. And as I said, the card itself is going to be good as well. So yeah, he was a champion. Okay. Yep. Lerone Murphy plus 132. Yeah, I mean, listen, I see the logic for it. As I said, I am leaning Aaron Pico personally, but I do see the logic for Lerone. I mean, Lerone's a really good fighter. He has fought a significantly higher level of competition than Pico has. The reason why I'm leaning with Pico, though, is just stylistically. I think it's probably a pretty good fight for him, as he does have As honestly, his biggest weakness, in my opinion, is his chin. And Lerone isn't necessarily a guy who has that much power. So I think that's one thing going for him. I also think he's going to have an edge in the grappling, in the wrestling specifically, talking about Aaron Pico in this fight versus Lerone. And I just think his boxing is a lot more crisp than some of the other guys that Lerone went up against, like Josh Emmett or even some other fighters as well. Even Dan Ige, I think Pico has much slicker boxing than him, and also he has a lot more power than a lot of other guys as well. So I'm personally leaning Aaron Pico. I did post a video today. If you guys are interested in my full in-depth breakdown of why I feel that way, check it out. But yeah, just to give you a spark notes, that's kind of why I'm leaning with Pico. The last program, as the highest amount of live viewers. Wow. Yeah, I did see it was a lot of viewers, so definitely a lot of excitement for this card. It's going to be good, boys. I'm definitely personally really excited about it. I think it's a perfect mix of casuals as well as hardcores. Just getting really excited about this card. Because listen, Hamzat's a huge name. I know he hasn't been a champion yet, but this is his chance to do so. And even Dricus, he's honestly a pretty big name as well. He's been really successful in the UFC thus far, undefeated, honestly finishing most of the opponents he goes up against. So this is it. This is what you want to see. You want to see two guys that are just the best of the best go up against each other, and that's what we're seeing. I know Dricus has a loss on his resume, but both of these guys are undefeated in the UFC, so it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And definitely warranted of all the excitement. All the recent PFL guys fared to win. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, listen, Pico is not in great company. I will say that. But I do think stylistically, it's not a bad matchup for him. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, everybody as of late, MVP, not really that great. I know he's a couple wins, but not really great. Michael Chandler, not really great. Honestly, I would make the argument that Chandler had the most success out of Bellator / PFL guys as of late. I know he's lost basically all of his fights outside of Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson. But the one thing that I will say is he was competitive against everybody, even if he was going up against really high level competition. But yeah, just not great success overall. Will you be on the plan or when you watch Fuzzy? No, I'm actually, so it works out kind of. I kind of wanted to be home to watch with the boys or do a little bit of a watch along with you guys, but I'm going to be flying in the morning, so I'll be there way before the card starts. So I'll already be there and I'll be watching the card, not on the plane. So kind of works out in that sense. Usman and Magomedov versus Paul Hughes too. What do you think? It was a really close fight. I personally thought Paul won the first fight, but it was close. It was close. It's not like a robbery or anything giving it to Usman. Going into the second fight, I do think Paul can make some adjustments to make the fight a little bit closer. So I think early prediction is Paul Hughes. It was a really good fight. I actually think I bag on the PFL all the time, but I actually think this is like the one fight that makes a lot of sense and is the best fight the PFL could put on. So the fact that we're seeing it twice is fun. And it does seem like Usman and Paul Hughes are the two best guys in the weight class. So I'm happy. I'm happy that they're putting it back together. And yeah, early prediction, probably Paul Hughes. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. If Pico is talking about facing Volk, you better beat Murphy. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if he's not going to face Volkanovski if he loses to Lerone. As I said, this is a number one contenders fight. That's how I perceive it, and I think it's probably what's going to end up happening. Whoever wins this fight between Murphy and Pico is going to get the title shot against Volkanovski next. That's kind of how I see it. It kind of sucks for Movsar because, Movsar probably deserved the title shot even before he was supposed to fight Pico, but he had to pull out with an injury, and I just think that's the reality. Whoever wins this fight is getting the title shot next. Main card starts at 4 a.m. Damn, that sucks. Yeah, it is always unfortunate for some of you boys not living in the U.S. Just like weird fight times or whatever. But yeah, whenever there's a card, a fight night or a pay-per-view that's not normal time for the U.S., it is kind of nice for you boys just to be watching a card at a normal time. But yeah, I do feel for you boys, and that kind of sucks. When you land, can you ask me why he's Ducking Lopez? Yeah, he kind of is Ducking Lopez, right? I mean, in my opinion, he's gotten a significantly. Oh well, actually, never mind. I was gonna say he got a significantly tougher opponent, but I don't remember who's he fighting. I don't know. Oh, I know it's not announced, but there's some rumors that he's supposed to fight somebody, Arnold Allen or something. I don't know. I don't know why he's ducking him, but it does feel like that. It felt like after that press conference, it was tailor made for the main event of UFC Noche to be Yair versus Diego Lopez. That's what I wanted to see. That's what everybody else wanted to see. But I guess Yair didn't want it. I don't know. I guess he thought he was getting a title shot next. That didn't turn out to be reality. So after that didn't turn out to be reality, I thought it made all the sense in the world. Just put Yair versus Lopez. But still, I guess Yair didn't want to fight him, and now we're getting Gene Silva versus Lopez, which is still a great fight. It just feels like a missed opportunity from the beef that both of these guys had at the press conference back a few months ago. So yeah. He's trying to get another title shot of beating bums. Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to get it. I thought there was a chance that he was going to get it. There's a lot of rumors that he was going to, but I talked about this a lot. I don't know the reason, but it seemed like Yair was going to get the title shot because UFC Noche was supposed to be a pay-per-view and it was supposed to be in Mexico. So I thought the UFC was kind of forcing a Mexican to get an opportunity there, and I guess they thought Yair was the only guy who could potentially deserve that. So I thought they were going to do Yair versus Volkanovski, the rematch in Guadalajara, but for whatever reason, it fell through. I personally thought because the UFC or Dana White specifically was kind of pushing Canelo Crawford more, which is going to be on the same day. So if they had a UFC pay per view that, of course, the UFC cares about a lot, while also having Canelo Crawford that Dana is promoting, I thought it would kind of be a conflict of interest where Dana would kind of be competing against himself. So I kind of thought because of that, they decided to change it from a pay-per-view to a fight night and make it a little bit earlier on in the day. And also the competition wouldn't be there between the two fights. That's kind of what I thought happened and why Yair lost the title shot was kind of because of Canelo. But I could be wrong. I heard other people in chat say the other day that there was something wrong with the arena. So I don't know if I don't know what the real reason is, but at this point, I think it's pretty obvious that Yair is not getting the next title shot. Jaden's been taking a shot at sport. No one lightweight. Yeah, JDM is tough. I do agree with you. We'll see what happens with JDM and Islam. I think JDM could even beat Islam. I'm assuming you're pretty high on JDM. I am as well. His boxing is tremendous. He hits relatively hard, not like insanely hard, but he hits relatively hard. His boxing combinations are elite, and yeah, it could be difficult. And I see what you're saying because usually where Ilya has his success is he gets in the pocket and puts together punches in combination. But JDM also does that at a really high level, and he's going to be a lot bigger than Ilya is. So that could be a really difficult fight for him. It'll be like a weird timeline if you ever see JDM versus Ilya. But I do see where you're coming from on that, and I don't completely disagree, to be honest. But from a fan's perspective, I do kind of want to see Islam versus Ilya. So if Islam wins the fight against JDM, as I said, I'm a huge JDM fan. I would like him to beat Islam, but if Islam beats him, then at the very least, maybe we can see Ilya versus Islam. But we'll see. A lot of moving parts for both guys. This is the biggest. Let's go. Now, listen, I like JDM too. He showed pretty good takedown defense in the Bilal fight. His boxing is elite. His footwork is really good as well. He's just a really good fighter. So I'm personally pretty high on him. And I don't remember if I put out the video yet or not. I don't think I did, but I will soon. I am honestly leaning towards JDM beating Islam, but we'll see. Who do you think is going to be the next dominant champion at welterweight? The next dominant champion at welterweight. I see a world where it could be JDM. If JDM beats Islam, I could see a world where he does. But with that being said, there are a lot of tough competition because if JDM beats Islam, he'll then need to fight Ilya, which maybe JDM will beat Ilya. I mean, he'll be a lot bigger, but it'll be a tough test to say the least. Then you also have Shavkat, which I actually think is kind of a good stylistic matchup for JDM, but Shavkat's a great fighter. Then you have possibly Ian Gary, who is not a fun fighter or anything, but he is really good. Then you have Michael Morales, which could be a tough fight. There's a lot of really good fighters at welterweight. So who's going to be the next dominant champ? I don't really know, but I do see a path to JDM becoming that guy. But it's going to be very telling what happens in the Islam fight, how he looks, if he wins or not. But outside of the actual outcome, also how he looks. So yeah. Joshua, what's going on, brother? Welcome back to the stream. What's up, Juice? We're one day closer. Yep, we're getting there, boys. We're definitely getting there. We're getting really close to this fight. I'm definitely really excited, as I talked about it before, because honestly, the card is just great. Honestly, the prelims are really good. The main card is tremendous. The main event is the best fight of the year. Best fight in a long time, honestly, maybe even more than a year. So I'm excited, and we're getting there. We're definitely getting there, boys. So That's good. It's exciting. Um, but yeah, and even after this card, we're gonna have good cards throughout. The days of having bad, or at least not so great on paper Apex cards are kind of behind us at this point. Seems like we're gonna have a lot of fun cards throughout the rest of the year, so I'm excited. And it's starting this weekend. I think Islam beats him and then he'll retire. You think Islam will retire? I could see that. I think for both Ilya and Islam, I think these guys are not going to be fighting that much longer. Both of them have talked about potential retirement. Islam has talked about potentially retiring. Because his mom doesn't want him to fight that much longer, and obviously Khabib retired pretty quickly as well. And for Ilya, I think it's a different reason. I think for Ilya, he just wants to be the greatest fighter he possibly can and then retire. As I said, I don't think he's going to be looking to stay around that much longer. I don't think he's going to be fighting or getting a bunch of title defenses at 155. If he somehow wins the belt at 170, I don't think he's going to be defending that belt that much, if at all. I think he's just looking for greatness, beat the highest level of competition, the biggest names, and be a 3 division champ if it's possible for him. And then after that, I think he'll probably retire. So I agree with you. I think both of these guys are probably going to retire relatively soon. And I think the outcome of their next fights will determine how much longer they'll stay. But honestly, for both guys, I think they're both entertaining fighters. They're both really dominating fighters. So I would like to see them fight for a while, but I actually predict they probably will retire relatively early. But we'll see, boys. Just gotta charge this thing. Islam gets appointed by JDM, moves down, loses via TKO. Imagine that scenario. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream, by the way. It's possible. It is possible. I think, as I said, after one title defense, Ilya moves up. The only way that I think he'll stay at 155 if that exact scenario happens. If Islam loses to JDM and then he moves down to 155, then I think Ilya would fight Islam. But if that doesn't happen, I think Ilya probably moves up. But we shall see. That'd be a crazy scenario though for Islam. Life would be so good if that happens. Yeah, honestly, you got a point. But in defense of Islam, he is a pretty entertaining fighter, and he's obviously very dominant. But yeah, I heard that one before. Yeah. Kels, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Pico's mad overrated. He's cooked against Lerone. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He might be. I mean, listen, Lerone is by far the highest level of competition that he's ever fought. We'll see how he looks. I think stylistically, it's not a bad fight for Pico, but we shall see. We shall see. Even if Islam wins, we support. Yeah, I think at 155, I actually would favor Ilya decently. Significantly, I don't know. Like if I had to make the odds, I think Ilya probably should be maybe a minus 130, minus 140 favorite at 155. But if it was at welterweight, I think it's a much tougher fight for Ilya because I think the advantages for Ilya, if it was at 155, would be Islam's cutting a lot of weight, and I think we saw that in his last fight a little bit versus Hanata Moicano. But even in some other fights, like this guy cuts a lot of weight to make 155. So because of that, his chin's probably not going to be as good. His cardio is probably not going to be as good. And the power that Ilya has, I think, will be very difficult for Islam. But at 170, his wrestling is going to be stronger. He's going to be a lot less powerful. A lot less drained. And he's just going to probably be a better fighter at 170. So it's a tougher fight for sure for Ilya at that weight class, but I wouldn't be shocked. 13-4 against Cans. Yeah. I mean, not amazing. Definitely not amazing. This is the only time I want to Bellator fight. Murphy is just so boring and old. Yeah, I mean, I think Lerone's a good fighter for sure. He is a little bit boring. But I think he's a good fighter. He has shown decent takedown defense on the feet. He is very, very skilled. But there's a couple things that he doesn't do amazingly. Like he has got taken down a couple times by Dan Ige, who I think is a significantly worse wrestler than Pico. So I think that's an advantage. And I don't know. We'll see. But Lerone is a really good fighter. Yeah, my thoughts. Lerone is a very good. Together, yeah, that's the last part of that is the reason why I am actually leaning with Aaron Pico because yes, I think one of his downfalls is his chin. He has a pretty bad chin actually, which is kind of ironic. But But yeah, but Lerone just doesn't hit hard. So I don't think he's going to be the guy that takes advantage of that. Um, so in terms of the power difference, it's significantly in the favor for Pico. Also, Pico has pretty solid boxing. And listen, power's not everything. We saw Lerone dominate Josh Emmett, and Josh Emmett has a lot of power. The difference, though, Josh Emmett is not technical at all. He just throws an overhand right and an occasional left hook. So I think Pico's a lot more technical than Emmett is. I think he's a lot more technical than even Dan Ige is, and he has better wrestling than Dan Ige does. Now MMA math doesn't usually work, but as I said, I just think stylistically it's not a bad fight for him. But obviously, as I said, with that being said, Lerone is a really good fighter. Murphy is the whole contender. Yeah, there's honestly a few of those guys in the rankings that maybe some people don't realize. Like Carlos Ulberg is like 35 or whatever. He's pretty old, and he's seen as a young and up and coming contender. And there's some other examples as well for some other guys. Lerone is boring but elite. I do agree he is elite. And yeah, I mean, he's not the most entertaining guy in the world, but yeah, he kind of just systematically does things pretty well. Featherweight Leon Edwards. Yeah. I think I would agree with that. The only difference that I would say in the favor of Lerone actually is Leon Edwards is really talented and really skilled, and I think he could be even better than he is. The problem with Leon is he just quits right away. He did this a million times. But if you look specifically back at his last fight versus Sean Brady, he got taken down in the first round. It wasn't a great first round for him, for Leon. Yeah, whatever. But it happens. Some guys lose rounds. But as soon as he lost that first round, you can just see in his eyes in between rounds, he lost all of his confidence after that first round. So the fact that this guy has no confidence at all in himself, if anything goes array, is ridiculous. He just has no confidence, and his mental is just not there at all. But I don't think Lerone is like that. So that's the difference between the two guys. But they both are, not the hardest hitters to say the least, and they both are like pretty technical on the feet. So there are similarities, but the mental is very different. I saw your video on comments. Do you think if Usman wins, that'd be kind of crazy. Obviously a lot of moving parts there. Do I think he will? I think probably not, to be honest. Even if Kamaru does beat Bilal, so if they do Kamaru versus Bilal, the winner of that, or I don't know the winner, but if Kamaru beats Bilal, he'll get a title shot, which would be kind of be crazy, considering where his career is at this point. But if he does get a title shot and then he beats whoever's holds the belt, I think there's a real chance that he just may retire. I mean, he's been a champ forever. He's been fighting forever. And if he somehow gets the belt back again, that would kind of be accomplishing, I feel, all of his goals. So yes, he could technically move up and go for the double champ status. But in my opinion, I think if he beats Bilal and beats whoever the champion is at that point and becomes a champion, I think there's a real chance he just retires. But it's I will say I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Usman's going to be the champ. I do think stylistically it's not a bad matchup versus Bilal, but I think some other guys at that weight class would be tough fights for Kamaru, especially at this stage of his career. If Loever Gene Silva would be the next featherweight champ, I think Volk will be either Murphy or Pico. Yeah, so I do agree with you. I do think Volk beats either Murphy or Pico. But I think probably Gene is going to be the next champion. That's what I personally see, because Evloev is really good. He has great wrestling. He honestly has really good striking. But the thing about him is he just has no power. Obviously, he has no finishes in the UFC, which is kind of interesting. He's too good of a fighter to not have any finishes, but it just kind of shows he's not really that physical. And for Gene Silva, he's really technical, so he can keep up with a Volkanovski or even an Evloev. But the difference is he's very physical. He can take a shot really well and he hits really hard. So in my opinion, I see Gene Silva in a similar light to how I saw Ilia Topuria when he was moving up at 145. I just think he's inevitable. Whoever you put in front of this guy, he's probably going to beat. I think he eventually finds a way to knock out Diego Lopez. I think he knocks out Volkanovski if they ever fought. I think he knocks out Evloev if they ever fought. And that also goes for Pico or Murphy. I just think Gene Silva is the truth at 145. He kind of puts everything together really nicely. And I know he plays around a lot on the feet, high-fiving, whatever, but he's just too good, in my opinion. He's really technical, and yeah, he just hits really hard. I don't know. I think he's just really good. You have great analysis. I think it comes down to Roland being able to outpoint and outwork. Yeah. Thanks, by the way. I appreciate that. But listen, I do see a world where that does happen. If Pico, I mean, listen, Lerone has really good movement and a lot of his fights, honestly. He does need to avoid the big shot of a power puncher. He fought Josh Emmett, who's a power puncher. Dan Ige is also perceived to be a power puncher. Now, Dan actually caught Lerone. He was able to survive. But honestly, in most of Lerone's fights, he does have to be in the back foot and kind of point his way to a decision. So I do think that will be his game plan going into this fight. But as I said, I just think Pico is a little bit more technical than some of the other guys that Lerone went up against, and I do think he may be able to figure it out. But I do see a world where Lerone's kind of just walking circles around Pico, and Pico can't really find him. Pico is powerful but untested. It just looked like a world beater. Yeah. So I do hear the criticism. Listen, he fought in Bellator. I know most Bellator guys don't look very good in the UFC. There's been a million examples of it as of late. But I guess we'll see. All of our questions will be answered on Fight Night. I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'll be right. We'll see what happens on Fight Night. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm personally most interested in the main event, obviously, but the co-main event is probably second on my list. That's also going to be a great fight. Islam is better than Khabib, not gonna lie. Yeah, so he's definitely more skilled than Khabib. I think Khabib is way more dominant. Like, we never saw Khabib in some of the positions Islam was, but that could be a part of the UFC and talent just getting better. So it's a tricky one. Like, Khabib was way more dominant than Islam was, but Islam is way more talented, I think. Or I don't know, way more, but he's definitely more talented than Khabib was. So it's interesting. But some of the guys that Islam was able to beat is really impressive at the same time. Same with Khabib. No way, you guys right? It's just yeah, I think it's highly unlikely. I think at this point he is, obviously getting a little bit older. Maybe he's still very physical, so I think that's why he could have a lot of success, and he has shown to have a lot of success at his current weight class. But moving up to middleweight, I think some of that physicality will go by the wayside, and I think it'll be tough. Even if theoretically he got the belt again and he wanted to move up to middleweight and the UFC granted it, I just think it would be a really tough fight for him. Honestly, against most guys he would go up against at that weight class. I mean, right now, imagine Dricus for Kamaru. It just, I don't know. It'd just be too difficult of a fight, in my opinion. And I don't really see him beating him. And even Usman versus Khamzat, I know we saw that before, and it looked relatively close. But at a higher weight class, I don't know. I think Khamzat would get him. I think if Kamaru getting the title, he's top 3 all time. Yeah, honestly, this kind of shows how new the sport is, because a lot of times when you talk about guys that get 1 title or 2 title defenses or 3 title defenses, all of a sudden they're in conversations of being the greatest ever, at least in their respective weight classes, which is honestly fair because the sport has just not been around for that long. But for Kamaru, if he does regain the title, he'll be a top 3 all time. I don't know if I would go that far, but he would definitely be very high up on the list. Now, I know a lot of people don't love Kamaru, don't love his title reign. They say he beat shitty fighters like Jorge Masvidal and Colby. In my opinion, I don't actually buy that. I think both of those guys are actually pretty good fighters, especially Colby. But I'm really high on Kamaru. I think he's a great fighter. He's definitely a all-time, I don't know, top 5, top 7, if he does do what you said. Top 3, I mean, maybe. I guess I would have to see at the moment. But I think top 3 may be a little bit too high, in my opinion. But he'll definitely be really, really good. Yeah, to get this point, we're getting the top penalties. Yeah. I hate Gene Silva, such a take, not even close to us, not well as they say is. Yeah, he definitely has a lot of antics in his fights. As I said, I personally think he's already great, and I think he's going to be the champion. He's kind of inevitable. But yeah, I know a lot of people don't love Gene. I do think third 5 years Pico. Yeah. 3-round fight, you're saying? Yeah. Who do you have? Khamzat, DDP? It's close. Like, I'm leaning DDP at this point. Just because how I think the fight's going to play out is round 1 is going to be a 10-8 round. One way or the other, Khamzat is going to win round 1, whether that's by finish or whether that's by domination. But I think DDP will be big enough and strong enough and just good enough to survive round 1, even though he will get dominated, I think. And then in round 2, Khamzat will be a lot less dangerous than he is in round 1. Round 3, same can be said. Round 4 and 5, it would be even more true. So I think DDP survives round 1 and starts to build as the rounds do progress. And I think once it gets late, Khamzat's going to be pretty tired. We've never seen him fight a 5-round fight, and he has gotten tired in 3-round fights before. So I think round 4 TKO would be my prediction for DDP winning. But of course, at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if Hamzat just goes in there and submits DDP right away. But at this point, I'm leaning towards round 4 TKO for DDP. The Bellator guys get high ranked opponents. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different push. I know what a lot of people say. They're saying like, oh, the UFC just kind of wants to show how bad Bellator fighters are. I think maybe that's possible. That could be part of the reasoning, but I think mostly what the reasoning is, a lot of times when they're bringing fighters over from Bellator, they're bringing over guys that are a little bit older. So they want to push these guys quickly. So they're giving them higher level competition, higher guys in the rankings, and if they can beat those higher ranked fighters, they're going to get a title shot like right away. So in my opinion, that's really the reasoning why we're seeing this from some of these Bellator guys. Because some of these guys are already old, as I said. You're not going to put them up against an unranked fighter. It's going to take forever for them to fight for the belt if they're any good. So I think the UFC is kind of just throwing them in the fire right away. Let's see if this guy's good or not. If he's good, he'll get a title shot. If he's not, whatever. We'll book some other fights for him. But in my opinion, that's kind of what I see. YouTube as well as we're going to get a title shot. He was my husband. Yeah. Asakura did get a title shot right away. I think Asakura was kind of just a circumstance kind of thing, just because Pantoja beat everybody at that weight class. And at this point, there's more contenders. But at that point, there wasn't an obvious contender outside of Asakura once he got signed. So I think that was probably the reason why they did it. And yeah. I think the UFC has inconsistent treatment of big names from other organizations. Sometimes you get title shots, and barely done it. It's kind of weird. Yeah, as I said, I think it's kind of just an age thing. But yeah. I mean, listen, some other guys from other organizations are older, and they're not getting pushed as much as maybe some of these Bellator guys or these PFL guys. So I guess it depends on how exciting they perceive the fighter to be and how much they want to push them. That's kind of how they see it. Yeah, same analysis. It comes down to round 1. DDP gets past it. It's easy to fight as long as 50 with the champ. Yeah, me too. I heard a lot of people saying if DDP gets out of the first 2 rounds, in my opinion, I agree with you. I think if he gets out of the first round, he's going to win the fight. But obviously, if he gets finished in the first round, it'll be over. But at this point, I kind of lean towards DDP just getting out of the first round and kind of putting on a pace as the fight does progress. Maybe a lot of body shots. He'll land some nice body kicks. He'll land on Hamzat. And listen, I know people were talking about Hamzat's cardio and maybe improving because he's worked on his cardio significantly. But how I personally feel is your cardio is your cardio. You can make some improvements, but when you fight the way Hamzat does, you're not going to be able to fight like that for 5 rounds. You can't go from fighting like Hamzat does for 1 round and kind of gassing out a little bit to fighting the way he does and fighting 5 rounds. It's not going to happen. Maybe he'll make some improvements. Maybe Hamzat will have better cardio and he'll be fresh for 2 rounds, maybe instead of 1. But you're not going to go from 1 round to 5 rounds, in my opinion. So, but what are you going to do? People said Whitaker would beat Hamzat too. We all know. Yeah, but I think that's a different fight, though. Whitaker has amazing takedown defense. It was a very impressive victory for Hamzat. Because he took down a guy who's notoriously great at stopping takedowns. But I think it was a different fight because if Hamzat was able to take down Whitaker, it was always going to be a submission. But if he does, honestly, when he takes down DDP, Hamzat will take down DDP. When he takes him down, I don't think the fight is over the same way that I thought so when Whitaker fought Hamzat. So we'll see. I mean, would I be shocked if Hamzat wins? No, but at this point, I am leaning with DDP. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. What's your name? My name is Justin. That's my name. Aaron pictogram that shit makes that'd be hilarious. Yeah, put them up against each other. I saw Apache's fighting some other guy that's also from a different organization, I think. We'll see how he looks, but yeah, I think Pico's initial fight in the UFC was the worst performance that I've ever seen ever from a highly touted prospect, not even a prospect, but a highly touted fighter from a different organization. As we said before, a lot of these guys don't look great in the UFC, but Pico literally, or not Pico, sorry. I don't know if I said Pico before. I meant to say Patchy. But Patchy literally looks so like ridiculously terrible in his fight versus Batista. I get it. Batista's a good fighter, but Patchy fighting that way he did, it doesn't seem like he'd beat anybody in the rankings or anybody even in the UFC. It was such a weird fight. I'll pay you 1K. Oh man, you pay me 1K, you'll make me give up. I'll make you give up. What do you mean? But sure, if you want to send me 1K, sure, I'll take it. Nah, I'm just kidding. You don't have to donate or anything. If you'd like to, sure, but you don't have to. I think the Whitaker fight was simply stylistic. Rob was not going to be on the ground. Yeah, I agree. I agree. As I said, the thing with Whitaker, why a lot of people thought he was a tough fight for Hamzat was because he was notoriously good at stopping takedowns. But everybody thought if Hamzat was able to find a takedown, he would find a submission. Um, and that's kind of how it played out. And it kind of just it was a weird submission because Whitaker's teeth were loose, I guess, or whatever. Hamzat's squeeze is just that ridiculous. Probably a little bit of both. But as I said, I think Hamzat will take down DDP. I just think DDP may be able to survive, and I think because he's bigger. If you saw the face-off, DDP is actually bigger than Hamzat. Because that is true, I think he can make Hamzat work a little bit more than he's used to, and maybe it could tire him out a little bit. DDP by tripwire or whatever. We'll see. It's not going to be pretty, but I do think in the end he's going to just figure it out somehow, like he does for most of his fights. Are we going to talk about the press conference, which is full of? Yeah, I was honestly a little bit surprised of how much of a pop Hamzat got. Listen, Hamzat deserves to be a star, and he is. He fights in a very exciting way, but it was so weird to see how one-sided the crowd was, all for Hamzat, and maybe Bilal was a part of that, but I don't know. Whatever. It was pretty funny to see. I guess we'll see on fight night where the crowd lies, but it seems like they're going to be for Hamzat. DDP was acting. Yeah, it's just going to be some random shit. Yeah, I don't even think he knows what he's going to do in there. He's just going to survive and win late. TDP by Looney. Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked. DDP owns Chicago. Yeah, or not DDP. Bilal owns Chicago. Yeah, freaking A. That was funny. That was funny. But yeah, I mean, listen, honestly, DDP kind of does get a lot of hate in a lot of places he goes to. So I guess this is not new for him. When he fought Sean Strickland in Canada, he got a lot of hate there as well, as the crowd was siding with Strickland. But he's used to it. But it is weird. I mean, he's a really fun fighter. I don't know why people hate this guy so much. I personally really like him. But I don't know. I guess people just aren't a fan of the style. I'm surprised DDP's. Yeah, me too. I'm surprised he always gets booed. He's a really fan-friendly style. His press conferences are usually pretty good. This time around, he didn't really trash talk or anything, but he's usually like a fun fighter to watch on the mic. So I don't get it, but a lot of people don't like it. Maybe they don't love his weird style. I don't know. DDP versus RDR be Looney Tunes style. Yeah, that's what I really want to see. It's honestly possible we could see that fight. If we're one fight away, or I guess technically 2 fights away. If DDP beats Hamzat and RDR beats Fluffy, which I think should be the next fight, makes all the sense in the world. RDR and Fluffy, if they both win their next fight, they're going to be fighting each other. So it is really possible. We might honestly see that fight. I would love to see it. I assume DDP wins because as weird as he is, as Looney Tunes as he fights, I think he's a lot more technical than RDR is. So I think he wins, but I would love to see that fight. It would be hilarious. I think the DDP hate is forced. Yeah. It is weird. Like, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of people hate. Maybe I'm just not on the right circles or whatever, but I don't really see people hating on DDP that much on X or Twitter or whatever. But it just, whenever he fights anywhere, it just seems like he gets booed. So I don't know. What are you going to do? I think he's fun. He's funny and has, yeah, I mean, what more do you want, honestly? But what are you going to do? People don't like him. I think it's because he was fighting fan favorites like Izzy, Hamzat, and Strickland. Yeah. That's probably a part of it, yeah. I'm sure if he fought by the way, I want to say one thing. I don't hate Strickland or anything. How is this guy a fan favorite? On the mic, he's funny. I will admit he is funny. But when he's like, oh, to the death or we're going to bleed or whatever, and he fights the way he does, it's just like, how do people not caught on to that yet? It's kind of weird to me why he's a fan favorite. But listen, I think he's funny, and I like Sean Strickland. He's a funny guy, as I said. It's just, I don't get it. Like, how do people like that style more than DDP? Yeah, I don't know. But maybe it'll be different now. Like you fought Imavov, yeah. I think I would agree with that. Also, I talked about this a little bit before, but what do you guys think? I think the whoever is going to be the champion of the middleweight division will be determined for the next however many years will be determined by this fight. If Dricus beats Hamzat, I think he beats everybody else. I think he beats Imavov. I think he beats Kaya Bahalio. I think he beats RDR. I think he beats Izzy if they ever fought again. I think he beats Fluffy. I literally think he beats everybody. And for Hamzat, if Hamzat beats Dricus, I also think he beats everybody. I think Hamzat versus Fluffy is an interesting fight, but I still think Hamzat would beat him. So I really think these two guys are just the best guys in the weight class. There's definitely other fighters that are great contenders, but in my opinion, I think the winner of this fight is just going to be champion for a while. And we're going to this type of fight is going to be something that we see at least twice, maybe even 3 times. But yeah. Even if DDP loses, he could fight RDR next, maybe. Yeah, I guess I could see that. If DDP loses, he could fight RDR. If DDP loses, do you think he just gets an immediate title shot? I don't know. How many defenses does he have? 2 at this point. He's going for 3. Maybe he probably doesn't get an immediate shot. So could you do DDP versus RDR? Yeah, you definitely could. You definitely could. It just kind of leaves out Fluffy though. That's the only one thing that I will say if you do that fight. But yeah, you could see that. I hope RDR will get the title from the same country. Yeah. He's actually like pretty good. Technically, he's not amazing. Obviously, he does have a really good knee to the body. Like that's the best thing he does on the feet, and on the ground, he's legitimately like elite. His jiu-jitsu is tremendous, and his wrestling is honestly really good as well. But yeah, he just does things in a funky way, but he does some things pretty good. And that right hand, by the way, that he ate from Whitaker, I have no idea how he ate that. It was a clean shot, perfectly timed shot, great power on the shot from Whitaker, and he survived it. He's kind of just bigger than everybody else. I guess that's partially why. But yeah, I'm a fan of RDR as well. Yes, I'm not a fan of Mark Fighter. It's kind of a weird person. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it. I just don't get it because listen, I know on the mic, whatever, people may like his style or whatever, but maybe just casuals that hype him up or whatever that are in the press conferences or are in the arena when the actual fight goes on. But if you watch this guy fight like once in your life, you'll know that he's not really an exciting fighter. Like how many exciting Sean Strickland fights have there ever been? Maybe you can say Izzy versus Strickland. Even that I don't think was that exciting. But the real excitement of that fight was the fact that Strickland was such a big underdog and he beat Izzy. I think that was the excitement. And also maybe the right hand that he dropped Izzy with in the first round. That was exciting. But outside of that, like, I don't know. I can't think of an exciting Strickland fight. TDP by childhood trauma. Oh, man. Chick is also Dutch according to Strickland. Yeah, it's true. That is true. Rose gonna have the West Ring match. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't say anything about that in the press conference. But I guess I don't know. He thought Hamzat was cool, but afterwards, after the press conference, it seemed like they were talking a little bit trash. So who knows? Duplessis, friends. They also speak Dutch. Let's go. But yeah, shall see. But yeah, I'm just excited about this fight, boys. That's what I'm hyped about. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I just saw the viewership numbers that you guys were talking about before. It was 110,000 live viewers in the press conference, and the best up until that point was Moicano versus Islam, which is 98,000. So yeah, it does seem like it's going to be the biggest fight of the year, probably pay-per-view wise, probably entertainment wise in terms of the fight itself, the main event itself. So this is going to be good, and I expect this to sell pretty well. But yeah, we'll see, fellas. We shall see how this card plays out. Definitely hyped. But yeah, I mean, even after I was kind of touching upon it before, but even after this card itself, we're kind of set, honestly, throughout the rest of the year. Because if you look at every single card, there's a couple of gaps where maybe we won't have any UFC for a particular week. But every week where we do have UFC fights, they're like really good until the end of the year. Like after this week, next week is Shanghai. It's like a weird time, at least if you're in the US, but still the card is great itself. The week after that, it's UFC Paris, which is going to be great main event and co-main event. So that'll be fun. After that, you have UFC Noche, which is not great, but the main event is great. So the main event will be fun. Then you have UFC Perth, which is looking to be pretty solid. Then you have UFC 320, which is looking to be pretty solid. Then you have Charles Oliveira versus Fiziev, which is a great fight. Then you have Batista versus Umar, which is also a great fight. That's going to be in Canada, in Vancouver, I believe, for a fight night. And then you have UFC 321 with Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane. So the fights that it shows on Google are only out until October 25th. But between now and October 25th, we have a lot of really good fights. Literally every week is fun. And then even after October 25th, I think we're going to be seeing good fights in November. The New York pay-per-view is probably going to be good. Probably almost definitely going to be good with Islam Ilya, not Islam Ilya, Islam JDM, and then we'll see who the co-main event is. And then in December, the UFC also looks to stack cards. So great time for us, boys. Definitely a great time. Only big fight of the year this year, you're saying? I mean, I think you can make the argument that Ilya versus Charles was a big fight, but I think everybody kind of thought it would be an Ilya knockout. So I could see why you may not think that was a huge fight. So yeah, maybe, honestly, you might be right. I have money on Lerone. Him at plus 200. Wow. You got him at plus 200. That's great value. As I said, I do lean with Pico, but getting Lerone at plus 200 is insane value. It's a good couple months for UFC. Yep, it definitely is. It definitely is. It is, especially since pay-per-views. Yeah. I'm happy about that. I was really happy about that the UFC moved over to Paramount. It's kind of like great for all reasons. No pay-per-views, which is great. Well, I guess I will say I have heard Dana say that there might be pay-per-views for a couple events. I hope not, but even if there is, it's better to have, like, let's say 1 pay-per-view a year or 2 pay-per-views a year as opposed to 13. So that would be a step in the right direction. But also, as I said, there's a possibility we see no pay-per-views at all going forward, which is the goal, hopefully. So that's great. But also, I'm just mostly happy to see UFC events not on ESPN. Their app is literally terrible. I see everybody complaining about it in chats. For me personally, it sucks. Whenever there's ads that pop up, it like pushes you back, so you're not live anymore. It's just like a ridiculous app. ESPN obviously has a lot of money. They just signed NFL Red Ticket, I believe. So they're signed with NFL Red Ticket. So obviously they have a ton of money. You know, what's stopping them from putting a couple of bucks into their app and making it better? I don't know, but whatever. I guess we don't have to worry about ESPN anymore after this year. So I'm happy that the UFC moved to Paramount. DB getting respected by the odds too. Yeah, I think the odds are kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Listen, as I said, would I be totally shocked if Hamzat goes in there, submits the DDP round 1? I would not be totally shocked, but at the same time, there's a very real path to victory for DDP, as I listed out before in the stream. As I have a full video out on it, if you guys want to see that full video on Dricus and Hamzat, my full breakdown. But yeah, I think the odds are a little ridiculous. So if you want to bet on DDP, I think it's probably good value at this point. At what is it now? Like plus 196? Yeah, plus 196. For DDP. Really good odds, in my opinion. Pantoja is probably back for December. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'm going to try to go to the New York card in November. So selfishly, I really want to see that as a co-main event in New York. But yeah, I just feel like that fight is probably going to be in December. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be on that card. But the fight itself is going to be really, really good. Joshua Van, I think, has proven to be a really good fighter. And his last fight was probably the fight of the year. Maybe I'm forgetting about something. But it's probably the fight of the year. And I'm really excited to see him versus Pantoja. 2 guys who really go for it and always have exciting fights. Yeah, but that fight was close. Like, I wouldn't bet on it. Yeah. Oh, you mean the main event you're talking about? Or are you talking about the main event? I'm assuming you're talking about. Yeah, it's close. It definitely is close. It's great. Way better than yours. Yeah, that's great. Honestly, it's great. Finally, the US can get back to that sort of style. Listen, pay-per-view is kind of outdated. Yeah, the UFC is going to make a couple more bucks, but I feel like in the long run, they're kind of doing themselves a disservice. Because listen, if you're a hardcore UFC fan, okay, you're going to buy the pay-per-view. But at this point, how many hardcore UFC fans are there? For the most part, where the UFC is going to make most of their money is with the casuals. And a guy who's not that interested in the UFC, maybe has some interest, but is not that interested, they're not going to be buying every pay-per-view. And honestly, based on how most of the pay-per-views look this year, they're probably not going to be buying any pay-per-views. So I thought it was kind of outdated. Why would you spend money when you can just illegally stream it? For a guy who's a casual, they'll probably feel like that. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of outdated, and the UFC was kind of missing out on a lot of potential fans. Because as I said, if you're a casual, you're not going to buy the pay per view, and if you're not going to buy the pay per view, you might just not watch the card in general. So now that it's free, I mean it's not free, but if you have Paramount Plus, you don't have to pay an additional fee. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are just not doing anything, maybe on a Saturday night, see it on Paramount Plus that the UFC is going on, and they'll watch it, and they may get hooked because of that. But yeah. But they are whack sometimes for you guys, though. Yeah. I went to UFC 3. The fact that yeah, that was insane, bro. That was fucking insane. The fact that they were fighting at a ridiculous time, it was ridiculous. It seems like every other country they go to, they kind of fight on their time. But for whatever reason, the card in the UK was like a ridiculous time. So I don't know. That was different per country, but in my country, I need HBO Max to watch it. It's like 12. Okay, yeah. I guess that's kind of similar to what we're gonna have now. I kind of wish the UFC signed with HBO Max in the US because I already have it. I don't have Paramount, but whatever. I'm not complaining. I'll be saving a lot of money based on no additional cost for the pay-per-views. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Do you think fighter pay will increase with Paramount? I do. Is it going to increase a significant amount? Probably not, but I do think it will increase. Right now, the base is 10-10. I could see that moving to 20-20 or maybe 15-15. I think 20-20 is a realistic possibility. So I do think it's going to increase. Is it going to increase by a lot? Probably not, based on how much money the UFC makes at this point compared to how much they pay their fighters. So yeah, listen, I personally think fighter pay is a real issue. I know people complain about it all the time, whatever, but I think it's a real issue. I have a video coming out about this next week, but I think this is, or maybe the week after, I don't know. But I think it's a big issue because you're kind of missing out on some potential stars that the UFC can get, or some potential sick athletes that the UFC can get. Because I made this point in my video, but I'll just cliff notes it right now. Like, if you're an insane athlete, there's definitely a lot of guys like this from the US or from other countries. If you're an insane athlete and you can play football or you can fight in MMA, what are you going to do? Most likely you're just going to go to football, because if you play football, you're going to make, at least $1 million in your first year, even if you're not good. And in the UFC, you're going to make 10-10, even if you are good. So the ridiculous disparity in money that you can make between these two organizations, it's just so ridiculous that I think it's actually kind of hurting the sport. And when you look at the UFC, like, yes, you do have some athletes that are insane. Like Johnny Walker is an insane athlete. I think Antiba is an insane athlete, but it's not the same level as some of these other organizations. And maybe you can say, oh, there's just not as much interest in MMA as compared to other sports, which is true. I think that is true. But I think another factor on top of that is because, other sports are getting paid so much more money. So as I said, if you're an elite athlete, you're probably going to just go to a different organization or play a different sport and make a ton more money. Yeah, bro, we got seated at 11 p.m. when everyone was leaving for 3 hours. I would say that's weird. Yeah. I mean, it's not remotely the same, but I've been to a couple pay-per-views in MSG, and obviously it's always at nighttime, and when you're walking out, it's at night. But I went to one fight night card in Long Island, UFC Long Island, and it was during the day. And after the card was over, it was light outside. It's just like a weird feeling that it was still light, but obviously that's a completely different thing, because I think that card started at like noon and ended at like 4 or 5, whatever it ended at. But yeah. Going in at that time that you went in is just ridiculous. Getting out at 6 a.m. It's insane. Dana said the bonuses will increase. Yeah, I did hear that. So that'll be good. That'll be good. We'll see what they're increased to. To what, 100K? Probably should be 100K, for being honest. But will it be? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I could see it being 100K, to be honest. There are no big stars like John Jones and McGregor in the UFC in this moment. Yeah, there's not. There's not. I think Topuria has the potential to be that guy. I think Hamzat also has the potential to be that guy if he beats Strickus. He's already a big star. And even Islam is honestly a pretty big star as well. Will he be Conor level? No. But I think the two guys that maybe could be are Ilya and Hamzat. I think those are the two guys that could be. But for Hamzat, he's got to be the champ. And for Ilya, he's got to beat Islam. I think if Ilya beats Islam, he could get close. Will it be bigger than Conor? Probably not, but he'll be close. Innocent words. Oh, yeah. It's just kind of a weird feeling. I guess, I mean, obviously, I'm from the US, so I'm usually used to night cards. Of course, there are cards that I watch during the day. Some fight nights as well as Abu Dhabi cards, pay-per-view Abu Dhabi cards are always during the day for me, so it's light outside afterwards. But I'm usually used to later cards. So yeah, it's just like kind of a weird feeling. But I guess it depends where you live. The thing is, Tapore doesn't talk. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. He's got like amazing one-liners, but he's not the same as Connor. Like Connor will have like funny one-liners in the press conference. The thing about Taporia, he's actually has really good lines, but it's usually in like an interview or something. He's not making fun of somebody with his one-liner. So I think that's a big difference between Taporia and Connor. But in terms of skill, there's an argument Taporia is better than Connor, than Prime Connor. He's really, really good. He's very well rounded. His boxing is elite. I think he's probably the best boxer in the UFC. His power is insane. His chin's really good, very physical. His wrestling is really good. He's honestly just very good everywhere, and he's elite in a lot of different areas. If anybody with the first, yeah, I think so. I think so. It's got to be either Ilya or I don't know. Is there anybody else that could? Alex, I don't think is going to get it. So yeah, it's probably got to be Ilya. That would be a crazy achievement. I talked about this before. What do you guys think? If Ilya, let's say Ilya fights, I don't know, Armin. Let's say he fights Armin next. He knocks out Armin. Then he moves up and he fights Islam for the belt at 170. He beats Islam and then he retires. Do you think he'd be the greatest fighter of all time? He wouldn't have a long career. But when you look at some of the guys he beat, Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Charles Oliveira, then he would also add Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan to his resume. Yeah, it's not the longest career ever, but incredible, incredible names that he's beaten along the way. And also, he would be the first 3-division champ. Do you think he would be the GOAT at that point? Honestly, I think he would. Honestly, I know he hasn't been fighting for that long, but I think there's a real argument for it. But of course, there's a lot of what's it called? There's a lot of hoops that he's got to go through to get there. He's got to beat Armin next, or whoever he fights next, and then he's got to beat Islam or JDM at 170. Tabor has some problems speaking words in English. Yeah, I guess he doesn't. He speaks pretty well English, but maybe not perfectly. But he needs to fight more. Yeah, you would definitely like to see him fight more. Ilya be the GOAT with an Islam win. Yeah. Yeah, I think he needs to be a 3-division champ for me to consider him the GOAT. If he beats Islam at 155, he's close. I think he's very close. But I think for him to like cement himself as the GOAT, he would need to get one more win at 155, which I think he beats everybody. But let's say it's Armin. I think he would have to beat Armin. Then he would have to move up to 170 and beat Islam. If he moved up to 170 and beat JDM, it still would be amazing, but I think him beating Islam at 170, becoming the triple champ and retiring on the spot, I think that will help his legacy a lot more than if he beat JDM. Even though JDM, argument to be made, he's a tougher fight. At least in the combo, yeah. Yeah, he's close, man. As I said before, that kind of just shows you how new the sport is. With a couple wins, a couple title defenses, all of a sudden you're considered to be one of the GOATs, or maybe even the GOAT. So yeah, it just shows you how new the sport is. Ilya needs a welterweight title defense for him to be considered the GOAT. Yeah, he may do that. I mean, he defended once at 145. It seems like he's going to defend once at 155. If he beats Islam, will he defend once at 170? Maybe. It would just bolster his career. Alex, I don't think he's time for lightweight. I would agree. I think Islam I think Ilya is great. And I think he could have success at 170, but I do agree with you. I think he's pretty small. I don't even think he's big for 145. So him moving up to 155, he does look like he's pretty small for that weight class. It didn't matter against Charles, but he is pretty small. I don't think for 155, I don't think it would hinder him that much. I think Charles is actually pretty big for 155, and it didn't really matter for Ilya in that fight. So for 155, he is small, but I don't think it matters. At 170, I think, as you said, I think it could matter at that weight class. That's kind of why I think at 170, it's a tougher fight. Islam is a much tougher fight for Ilya at that weight class as compared to 155. But we'll see. We'll see. If this guy is able to do it, 5'6" guy is able to do it and be a 3-division champ, beating JDM or Islam at 170, hard to find a resume that's better than Ilya's. Who are the commentators for Saturday? I don't know. I'm assuming it's the normal guys, Anik, Rogan, and DC, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I'm assuming we'll hear about it soon, or maybe it's already out. Honestly, it could be. Um, let's take a look. UFC 319 commentators. Doesn't say. Oh, here we go. Broadcast team. I don't care about the weigh-in show. What is Dustin Poirier is going to be a desk analysis. Oh, here we go. Cage Side commentators. Joe Rogan. Who else? Just says Joe Rogan. The fuck? It says John Anik, Joe Rogan, and DC. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the normal guys. He's 5'6" and compact. Looks tiny next to Charles. Like welterweights or 6 foot. Yeah, he'll be small. He'll definitely be small, which will make that win even more impressive if he is somehow able to do it. Like I'm 6'1", 195, and fight at welterweight. Featherweight or even bantamweight. Yeah. I mean, his brother is fighting at bantamweight, and I think he's kind of the same size, maybe even bigger than Ilya. So he's definitely fighting above his weight class for sure. It's pretty impressive. DDP by Hamzat getting it 30 seconds. I can see that. Man, DDP is just I don't know. He's just gonna figure it out. There's gonna be bad moments for DDP in the fight. I think there's gonna be some moments where you go like, "What is this guy doing?" But I just feel like he's gonna figure it out. He's done so. He's done so thus far. I know Hamzat is the toughest test he's ever fought, but he's done so thus far, and he's looked really good in a lot of his fights. And I just think stylistically, he might honestly have an answer for the domination that Hamzat has shown throughout his career. But yeah, good stuff though, boys. Good stuff. Yeah, it was kind of funny to see Hamzat's training partner at the press conference today. Usually they don't do that. Usually just the main card. But I think Dana was just so happy that this guy is willing to be so active and fight on 4 days' notice. So he just threw him on it. Good for him, though. Kid looks good. He looks really, really good. He's probably older than me, but I do the Dana thing where I just call everyone a kid. But he looks really good. Actually, I don't think he's older than me, but basically same age. But he looks really good, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't think Ilya's power will transfer to welterweight. He's fighting Bilal. He won't have any power. Yeah. Bilal's probably not a bad fight for Ilya, honestly. But yeah, it'll be tough. I actually do think JDM would be a really tough fight for Ilya. Just because, as I said, what Ilya usually does well is gets into the pocket, lands a bunch of big bombs, and knocks his opponents out. But against JDM will not only have the technical ability to match his interior boxing, but also he'll be a lot bigger than Ilya, and maybe a couple clean shots from JDM will knock out Ilya. I don't know. Ilya has shown a great chin, but moving up that much could be an issue for him. He'll be a pure size disadvantage, which will be small, man. Yeah. It'll be tough. You got any bets or parlays out yet? Yeah, so I'll go over my bets for this weekend. So what I have, we'll start from the prelims. What I have is I'm taking a shot on Ruzaboyev. I do think Brian Battle's a better fighter, but Brian's moving up a weight class, which I think is not a smart move for him. He does get hit a lot, and Ruzaboyev is really big for the weight class and also hits really hard. So I'm taking a shot on Ruzaboyev here at plus money, plus 138. So I like that. I also like Edson Barbosa minus 142. I know he's a million years old, but he's also on rocket fuel. So I think he'll be fine here against Drakkar Klose. So I like that bet personally. I'm also going to do Gerald Meerschaert. This is kind of a classic for me against most guys, but especially in this fight for Solojaychik, I think it makes sense here as well. I'm going round 2, round 3 submission for Gerald Meerschaert at plus 1,500 and plus 2,200 respectively. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Usually round 1, Meerschaert is literally half asleep. I don't know what he does in the back. He's literally sleeping in the first round. But once it gets to the second round, that's usually when he comes on. And I do think he'll have a significant grappling advantage in this fight versus Solojaychik. So I like that bet personally, and the value is good there. But But outside of that, for the main card, I was thinking going Pico, but at minus 170, I think I'm going to stay away. Um, what else do I got? I have Jared Cannonier. I actually love this play, plus 158. So I'm taking this play, Cannonier. And then the main event, taking Dricus's money line, plus 196. And in terms of combos, as I kind of talked about before, I'm going to take round 4, round 5 TKO for Dricus at plus 3,000, plus 3,500 respectively. I think the odds are good. And I think it's honestly a very realistic thing that could happen. So that's what I have at this point. In terms of parlays, um, usually I personally like to stick to 2-leg parlays where I'm very confident that 2 fighters are going to win. But on this card, honestly, I don't have that. I'm not super confident in any of these guys winning, like super confident to the point where I would take parlays. So that's kind of what I have at this point. I haven't checked all the props out yet, so maybe I'll have more props out. I will be hopping on a stream tomorrow, and if I find anything else, um, I will let you boys know. Does Ilya have the best walkout song? Yeah, honestly, he might. He has a really, really good walkout song. So honestly, I think he does. Joshua does think so as well. Ruzaboyev bet isn't bad. Yeah, as I said, I don't think Ruzaboyev is good. I really don't. It's just he's going to be so much bigger than Brian Battle, and he hits hard. So I think there's a chance there. Do you think there's value on Hernandez? I mean, maybe. What are the odds on Hernandez? He's plus 250. I mean, maybe. Chase Hooper is unproven on the feet. His striking has gotten better, but he's not great. Hernandez is really powerful. So maybe there's some value there. I just personally think Chase Hooper is going to be fine on the feet, and then he's eventually going to find a takedown and just submit Alexander Hernandez. Hernandez has a lot of power, but he's just like not that smart of a fighter, in my opinion. I think he'll make a mistake, get taken down, and get submitted. But if you want to take Hernandez, I feel like you might as well just take TKO or KO. That's probably how he'd win. I wouldn't bet Hernandez. Yeah, I think what's his face is going to win. Chase Hooper. I only have money on Murphy because I got in early. Hernandez is so inconsistent. Yeah, he is very inconsistent. I think that's a part of his fight IQ or lack thereof. But yeah, listen. As I said, I am leaning Pico, but the line that you got plus 200 on Murphy, I probably would have been on Murphy as well at that number. I agree, but I feel like he's better than Hooper on the feet. He probably is. It's just he's just like a little bit inconsistent. He doesn't have the best fight IQ. Is there value? I mean, as I said, maybe if you were going to take Hernandez, I think you might as well just take him by TKO. What is him by TKO? Him by TKO is plus 550. You're kind of like more than doubling the value that you're getting on his money line. So I probably would just do that. But yeah, unless he's like a plus 400, yeah. On 250 plus not. What's he paying? What do you mean? What's who paying? Yeah, plus 250. I don't think is great. As I said, just take him by KO if you're going to. But yeah, that's kind of all the value that I see thus far. I haven't taken a look at all of the props. Maybe you could do Ruzaboyev by KO. What is that? Ruzaboyev by KO is plus 470. So maybe you could take Ruzaboyev by KO. Just looking at some other props here. What else? Let's see. Could you do Kai Sakura by KO? What is that? Kai Sakura by KO is plus 160. There's no value there, in my opinion. Cannonier by decision. I think Cannonier wins by decision. So plus 290. Honestly, not amazing value. Prates by KO. What is that? Plus 130. That's not great value. Let's see. What about round 2 KO? Method round combo. Fuck. No way, boys. This sucks. My mouse just died. Fuck. What do I do? Can I don't know how to do this. Could I somehow get back? Fuck. 1 second, boys. I'm just gonna charge it up. I gotta stay on the screen. I can't move anything yet, but yeah, what are you boys saying? Loki DD Pip isn't so bad. He's like plus 350. What sportsbook are you on? That's insane value, bro. Plus 350 for DDP. I would definitely take that at that number. That's tremendous. A small bet on him isn't bad value. Yeah, yeah. I mean, even if you don't want to go big on him, just taking a small shot on DDP at plus 350, I think that's like tremendous value. On the book on FanDuel is what I use. He's plus 195, and I still think that's decent value. So plus 350 is tremendous. But yeah, what sportsbook do you use? It seems like you get like insane lines with that line, and also oh no, that's what it. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, that's honestly smart. That's very, very smart. If you bet really early, yeah, you're right for best value. Yeah, if you bet really early, you're probably going to get best value. I've been saying forever that I wanted to do that. I just haven't done it. I usually just wait till fight week to bet, but it's not the best idea. Yeah, usually you should bet early. You can get tremendous value on certain fights. So I definitely should change my ways and do that. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. Like LeBron's plus two. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, it's great value. DDP was plus 300 something. Wow. Yeah, it's just great value. It's honestly like a lot of times for a lot of these fights on fight week or fight night or whatever, when you see some of the odds that some people got earlier on, it almost feels like they're fake because there's such great value. But yeah, when books open, there's usually some pretty good value. They're kind of just seeing where the public will go, and that's how they determine their odds. But yeah, good stuff. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. DDP the DDP memes are tremendous. They're tremendous. Um, yeah, listen, I think DDP wins, but it's not going to be clean. I will say that it'll be some weird sort of scenario. Um, they're made by how people bet, so you're getting most value. Yeah, yep, exactly right, Kels. Um, yeah, so that's good stuff. Exactly right, man. Fucking starving here, boys. TP versus. Oh man. Chase Super via Pokemon collection. Chase Chase Super via gooning or not gooning, maybe. There you go. That was so funny. Watching his post fight press conference. Joe had no idea what he's talking about. That was hilarious though. Gooning is a tremendous term in my opinion. It's hilarious to me. Let's see if my thing is charged. Could I use my mouse? Oh, man, this is fucking weird, bro. Oh, there we go. Let's go. We're back, fellas. We're back. Chase Super is the biggest goon. Yes, he is. He said it's in himself. Where's Whitaker on your GOAT list? I don't know. I mean, he's definitely a legend. I mean, he was a champion for a while. And even when he wasn't the champion, he was just beating everybody outside of Adesanya and I guess DDP. He's definitely a great fighter. He's definitely on the GOAT list for me. I don't know what number. For me, it's kind of hard to tell just because I don't know. It's just there's just so many great fighters. I would have to like really look over it. Like I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't really say like, oh, he's like number 12 in the rankings for me or number 20 in the rankings for me. It's kind of hard to put like a number on it, but he's definitely great. He's definitely great, and he's done some great things over the years, and he'll be on the list for sure. Bro lost to RDR. He's like, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Um, RDR is overrated. He's so slow. Yeah, he's slow. He's definitely slow, but I just think he's so much bigger than everybody else in the weight class, and he has a really good body knee, and he's also really good on the ground. He's legitimately really good on the ground. That's kind of why he gets away with things, or away with more things that other people can't get away with. Um, but he's looked solid. He's looked solid. 34 years old, lots of miles, long box way up there. Yeah, we'll see. I think they should do Fluffy versus him next. If he beats Fluffy, then they'll get a title shot, and we'll see how he looks against DDP or Hamzat. But if he just continues to win, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Um, it's weird, but he still wins. Yeah, it just as I said, I think why he gets away with it is, listen, you have to have skill, and he does have skill on the ground. He's really good, legitimately. On the feet, he's just slow and weird, but his body knee is really nice. Actually, it's kind of all he has on the feet, but it's really nice. And also, he can take more shots than other guys can, just because he's so much bigger than everybody else at the weight class. We saw it in the Whitaker shot. But yeah. RDR is the next to C. Yeah, maybe. He might be. It's looking like it so far. I mean, he's beat everybody so far that he's fought in the UFC. So maybe. Only lost to a Juice guy. Yeah. Yeah, he was juiced to the gills, bro. Fluffy with Martin RDR if Martin wins. Yeah, we'll see. It's a tough fight, actually, I think, for both guys. The one thing that I will say about Fluffy, honestly, if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think he was that great initially. I thought he was good, not great. But after he dominated Delete the way he did, I'm reconsidering. I think Fluffy is actually really good. Not saying Delete is that good. I actually don't think Delete is good. He just kind of has really good jiu-jitsu and has a lot of power, but he doesn't put everything together. But the way that Fluffy beat him kind of makes me rethink. And I thought his striking looked a lot better, Fluffy's did, in that fight than it did in the past. So he's a legitimate contender. But if they do RDR versus Fluffy next, which I think they should, early on, there could be some issues for Fluffy. He got hurt to the body in a bunch of his fights, actually. And as I said, RDR has an amazing body knee, and Fluffy kind of just runs into guys, and that's how he tires them out and finds takedowns. So that body knee could be huge for RDR, and I wouldn't be shocked if RDR found a big body knee and finished Fluffy early. I would not be shocked. But if Fluffy can figure out that body knee, he wins the fight, I think. RDR's undefeated at middleweight. Yeah, I mean, he's looked great. Yeah, bro, heavyweight is legit. I don't think it's every drug match. Well, yeah. Some of these guys are just juiced to the gills. It's insane. RDR is way bigger and taller than Fluffy. He is going to be way bigger than him. Yeah. I've actually met Fluffy, good guy. He's also small from middleweight. Looks like. Let's go, bro. That's fire. Oh, so I'm assuming you train, or do you just meet him outside? That's pretty cool, though. It's really cool. Yeah, he does look like a nice guy. RDR by spamming knee. Yeah, that's kind of what he does. That's what he did against Whitaker, and it worked. If it works against Whitaker, I feel like it should work against Fluffy, just kind of based on the way Fluffy fights. But we'll see. If Fluffy is able to make it out of the first 2 rounds, it could get dicey for anybody, including RDR. Yeah, everyone is busted bone. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, both of your analyses are pretty fair. I think Bo is significantly overhyped, and I think Whitaker is, yeah, I probably agree with that. Probably halfway washed. I just think stylistically that knee could be difficult for Fluffy, but we'll see. We'll see if they even put the fight together. I mean, there's been a lot of obvious fights that the UFC has not put together, so we'll see. I think they definitely should, but only time will tell if they put together that fight. Should be fun though if they do. Yeah, training rich from no college. Oh, that's fire. That's fire. Yeah, I've been saying in my chat forever. I don't know why I don't just do it. I've never trained before, so I mean, I probably suck at this point, but I would like to train, just get a little bit better. I live pretty close to Ray Longo's, and he's had a lot of success. I'm not saying I would get private lessons with Ray Longo, but just to train at a gym like that would be pretty cool. So I think eventually I'm going to sign up and train. Um, but yeah. RDO trains. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good gym. It's a really good gym. Good Cliff. Got TDP if you're. Let's go. Let's go. Before he trained in Netherlands. Some Washington fighters. Yeah, sometimes we see this actually with certain fighters that fight at gyms that are just don't have that many guys. Yeah, you're gonna dominate in the gym. I think Connor was actually a great example of this. Connor was a great fighter in his prime, but he's a great example of this. And there's been others as well. Jamal Hill is actually a good example of this, where they're kind of training in gyms where they're clearly the best fighter in that gym by far, and they're just going to run through all their training partners or their sparring partners or whatever, and it kind of hinders you. Connor kind of overcame it, I guess, because he was great, but for Jamal Hill, I think we kind of saw an effect of that at his gym. Like nobody good trains at his gym, and I think the lack of advancement in his game, I'll say, is kind of because of that. In part because of that. There's been other examples as well. You got to train at a gym where there's a lot of really good fighters, or at the very least, if you're going to train like solo in a specific gym where you're the main guy, the main focus, that's fine. But you have to outsource and fight some better guys, for sure. It's good exercise. Most people who train never fight better. It's good to know. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I probably wouldn't fight professionally either. I kind of just don't want the brain damage, but yeah, I would love to train. It is great exercise for one. Also, kind of just a good thing to know. And as you said, yeah, it kind of makes you appreciate the sport a little bit more because it is obviously very taxing. I mean, I've never wrestled or anything, but I mean, I've rolled around with a couple friends, but we don't really know what we're doing. I mean, I've rolled around with a friend that wrestled in high school and obviously he's significantly better than I was, but yeah, it's just good exercise and fun, and it would be cool to learn. I will not. This is right from Thor Hammer. Let's go. Yeah, he's fighting soon. He's fighting soon. PFL card. That PFL card actually looks pretty good. The main event is fun with Usman Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes, and Artem's on the card as well. Who's the co-main event? I think it was something pretty good as well. That card looks pretty good. I hate on PFL all the time. Their production sucks. Their fights usually suck, but that one card I will be watching. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yep, I agree. Actually, talking about small gyms, fluffy. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, listen, some guys could make it work. I just feel personally, like you could fight at a small gym. I don't think that's the problem. You are going to get most of the attention, which actually could be a benefit. I just think training partners is a big thing. And if you're training against guys who all suck or are nowhere near the level that you are, I think it could hinder you. I think training against guys who are better than you helps you out a lot. I mean, I guess I have no experience. I've never trained, but based on what I've been hearing from other guys, I feel like that probably is true. And it just kind of makes sense in all sports. If you're playing basketball or playing football against somebody who's a lot better than you, it does help you become a better player or athlete or fighter in this case. Yeah, like jiu-jitsu school, I'm pretty sure he's the only brown. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. But as I said, some guys are just good and they just make it work. Maybe Fluffy's just one of those guys. Connor was one of those guys. I mean, so it definitely does happen. Definitely does happen. The way Fluffy fights is honestly pretty fun. Maybe some people think it's boring. It's kind of that Marab style, but I think it's pretty fun. His striking it looked pretty good in the Delete fight, and him just gassing guys out. It's honestly pretty impressive and pretty fun to watch. So I like the Marab style. Maybe some other people don't. I personally do. I like Marab fighting. I think his fights are entertaining. Colby back in the day definitely had entertaining fights in my opinion, and now Fluffy does as well. Thoughts on Darren Till versus MVP fight? If he were to fight MVP, or are you talking about him fighting on the KSI thing against who's he fighting? Whoever. I'm assuming you're saying against MVP. Could he be MVP? It's tough. It's tough. I mean, MVP at range is really difficult. I think the way to beat him is obvious. Beat MVP, just take him down. But Darren Till is not going to be that guy. But he's also a great striker. I don't know. If Darren Till can get inside, I think he can have success. At range, MVP would have success. Who would win that fight? I'll go with Darren Till. Fuck it. Darren Till. We also have a new fighter in the UFC, and you also very interesting. Okay, yeah, actually, I didn't hear about that. But that's cool. It's always cool to get more talent in the UFC. Um, so I'll be excited. Be good again. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Big shoes have done. It's not like there's something. Yeah, yeah. I think probably. Um, I think probably the best way to do it, if I were to say, is probably to be at a small gym but have access to a big gym, kind of like what Kamaru does, where he trains at a big gym, but also he trains with Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje at somewhat of a smaller gym. I think that's probably the best way to do it because you get you get the main focus from your coaches, but also you can outsource and spar and train against some other higher level competition. So that's how I think it. What I think is the best move. Always actually DC. I don't know. Oh yeah, he actually got signed. Oh cool. Now you fight two fighters again. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. Definitely interested to see how he looks. About show. But I know he's in there last year. He won, but Dana did not sign it. Okay. 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 Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, okay. All right, let's go, boys. See how he looks. Honestly, I don't even remember that Contender Series fight. How did he look? At middleweight, he's like 6'5". Freaking A. Insane, bro. Yeah, I picked his opponent like 3 times. Fuck. Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Fucking hell. Was it a DQ or something, or did they just continue? He lost to Marco Tulio by decision the first time. Oh, okay, okay. Marco Tulio is a good fighter. Alex brought him twice. K1 knocked him out both times. They're good friends now. Okay, all right. It's cool. That's cool. See how another kickboxer does at the weight class. Definitely interesting to see. Did you guys see this at the press conference? These guys with the hums up beards. That's fucking hilarious. Oh man. But yeah. Freaking A, chat. Freaking A. UFC did not. Yeah, they didn't sign him because he was complaining that he wanted a higher contract. Honestly, rightfully so. I think the UFC literally offered him like 10 and 10, maybe a little bit higher than that, but it was pretty low. And he's been very successful in kickboxing. So yeah, I don't know. Good for him, honestly, for not accepting that fight, or not the fight, not accepting the contract. He was getting nothing. Honestly, I was remembering say they're paying him peanuts. Yeah, yeah. Hey, they just fuck over guys. I don't know. 10 and 10, I feel personally is kind of ridiculous for anybody, but especially for a guy who's had success in other organizations, like for him in kickboxing and had a lot of success of that. You can't pay a guy like that 10 and 10, or even if it was, let's say 30 and 30, even that's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Yeah, he definitely makes good money over there. Did beat Alex Burr in kickboxing. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So that's why it was interesting, kind of doing a reverse Adesanya, where Alex beat Adesanya, and they brought Alex in just to fight him. Eventually, he won, and Alex became a big star. They were kind of doing the reverse of that, but yeah, they weren't able to sign him. Redemption, I mean, listen, like 100. Yeah, honestly, probably. I mean, listen, I like it is tough because he would be fighting for his first fight in the UFC, but at the same time, I think that's probably fair for as good as he was. in kickboxing and the amount of success that he had. And obviously, what the UFC is trying to do is they want him to fight Alex in the UFC. That's what they want. So just pay the guy. I mean, have him fight. Who do you think or what do you think Alex Pereira makes? I think he makes a really, really good contract for UFC standards. Definitely over $1 million, I think. It's gotta be. Just because he's a big star for one. He fights all the time. He saved the UFC a bunch of times. I'm sure when he was fighting on short notice for the UFC, he was getting even more money than he normally does. I'm sure he gets paid well over $1 million for a fight. I think he gets paid really well. But most guys are not like that. He's at 35 million for now. Yeah. For Alex, you're saying? Or for Artem? For Alex, I'm assuming. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. I'm excited. Listen, we need somebody for the heavyweight division. I know we got someone potentially on the Contender Series next week. We just need somebody, bro. We need somebody. I was talking about forever how I thought Francis should get signed by the UFC and do Francis Tom. I still want to see that, but I do think Dana White looked really, really good actually recently when the whole thing came out about Francis not showing up at PFL Africa because his whole thing was he wants a lot of money, but his whole thing was I want to build MMA in Africa. I want to it's not all about the money for me. I'm focused on other things as well. I want to help fighter pay and whatever. And him just not showing up and just not a great look for Francis. So I kind of see what Dana was saying when he said, Francis is not a great guy to work with. I kind of see it. It made him look good. But still, even with that being said, fuck it. Just sign him anyway. Put the fight together. You can cut him after if he loses. Francis versus Tom would be so fun. Tom kills everyone, but imagine no fucking comes. Yeah, I was talking about this a lot. I think Tom just beats everybody. I think he beats Gon. He'll take him down and submit him. I think he's going to John Jones Gon. For Volkov, you already beat him before. He'll beat him again. Pavlovich, same thing. Curtis Blades, same thing. Shelton Almeida could be interesting. Shelton is freakishly strong, has good jiu-jitsu, but I think Tom just knocks him out in the feet. Tom versus Waldo Cortez Acosta won't even be close. I don't know how that guy's number 6 in the rankings. As you can probably tell, I'm not too high on this guy, but somehow he's there. But Tom would beat him, and he would beat everybody else as well. The only guys that I think maybe could give him somewhat of a test is Derek Lewis. Not because Derek Lewis is good, but because Derek Lewis hits so hard, maybe he chins Tom Aspinall, maybe. But outside of that, I just think Tom beats everybody. And it's very uncommon for the heavyweight division, but I personally think Tom's going to get like 4, 5, 6 title defenses. There's just nobody right now that I think even competes with Tom Aspinall. I guess we'll see with Gon if Gon can stop takedowns and take the fight late. We haven't seen Tom fight late. Maybe he gasses out, but I just don't see that. I think Tom just takes him down in the first 2 rounds and submits him. That's what I think. But yeah. If Gon beats Aspinall, then Jones takes him for nothing. We're screwing. Yeah. That'd be hilarious. If Gon beats Tom, I think John immediately calls for a fight against Gon at the White House and tries to get a title win again. But yeah, pretty much. But low-key, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things you can say about John Jones. I just personally still think he's the GOAT. Listen, he popped for roids. I personally think everybody's on roids, in my opinion. Does that mean it's great that he popped for roids? I mean, no, but I personally think everybody is, or most guys are. And for the Dominic Reyes thing, that's legitimate. And the ducking thing, that's legitimate. Him being a terrible person, that's legitimate. But in terms of what John was able to do, he's a champ, the youngest champ. He was a champion forever, multiple weight classes. And his longevity is ridiculous, and he never technically lost. Or, well, technically, I guess he did lose. But outside of the Matt Hamill thing, he's never lost. So I think he's probably the GOAT. But I don't. I see your logic. Shamil Gaziev, we'll see about that. Let's go. Listen, Gaziev or Gaziev, whatever. This guy is elite. He's very fast. He hits really hard. Leg kicks are on point. His grappling's insane, and yeah, he beats everybody. But Until then, Tom will beat everybody. But once Gaziev or Gaziev gets there, he'll knock out Tom. Gaziev will be the best fighter to ever live. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Actually, I don't even know if it's low key. He's definitely the greatest fighter ever. Um, so he's legit. The Flop King Shamil, let's go. Oh man, the Shamil Gaziev memes are tremendous. Shamil is a funny guy. He's like actually a funny guy, by the way. Outside of being like in all these memes or whatever, he's actually funny. Um, so yeah. I don't see a John. I mean, Gun also needs to be an ambassador for the sport. Also, John Jones. Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess I was saying like technically on paper, but yeah, he probably lost to Reyes, or he definitely should have lost to Reyes. Yeah, if it's to be an ambassador to the sport, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, John Jones is the furthest thing from that. Um, yeah. So if listen, I mean, I've talked about this before on live streams. It kind of just depends. I don't love the GOAT debate, in my opinion, just because everybody has different criteria on who they think is the GOAT. For one guy, it could be wins. For one guy, it could be longevity. For one guy, it could be title defenses. The other guy could be ambassador of the sport. One guy, it can be whatever. There's so many different ways you can look at the GOAT. So in my opinion, it's just based on opinion. Who the GOAT is just whatever you value more. Um, but yeah, I mean, listen, GSP being the GOAT, like it's not a bad idea either. For me, it's everything's yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, right. Yeah, I just don't love the GOAT debate personally. It's just your opinion. Whatever you value more is who you think is going to be the GOAT. And even in like GOAT debates, like top 10, top five, yeah, most guys are going to have a similar list for who's top 10, top five, but there's going to be slight differences. Maybe there'll be a couple of guys on a certain list that's not on a different fighter's list. So I don't know. Whatever. It is subjective. Um, but yeah. Um, Sam Patterson, huge news here. Sam Patterson resigned with the UFC or signed an extension. He's actually pretty good, but I thought I was going to go a weak man. Well, because he called him a weak man because he was kind of training against guys who were way worse than him and he was beating them up. I don't know. I feel like maybe kind of has a point to be honest, but yeah, I don't know. In terms of that, I think he has. I think he has a point to be honest. But Hamzat's a great fighter. But the comment everyone is on steroids doesn't nullify someone. Yeah, I mean, listen, it is a good point. It is a good point. No, you're good. You're good, bro. It's fine. It's a healthy debate. But yeah, I do get it. Like as I said, I think there's a lot of guys in the UFC that haven't been caught just because they have good doctors, but I think they are on steroids. Like Kamaru Usman is that guy not on roids? Maybe he's not, but I think it's very unlikely that he's not. I think he just has a good doctor. Also, there was a hilarious moment. If you guys have seen this, hilarious moment in a press conference between Colby and Kamaru when Colby said, "Yeah, we were supposed to fight earlier, but Kamaru pissed hot." And then and then Kamaru looked at Dana like, "Oh shit." It's kind of a funny moment. So I don't know if that meant anything, but it's kind of just funny. But outside of just picking on Kamaru, I think there's a lot of other guys that probably are on it. But with that being said, yes, if you have been caught 4 times, it's not a great look. And maybe John's on more PDs than other guys, so that would give him an advantage, I guess. But yeah, no, you're good, bro. You're not. It's not arguing. We're just chatting. But yeah, some funny stuff, dude. Honestly, bro, like the Kamaru's prime was really fun. The Colby fights were insane. Colby versus Kamaru 1 was. I don't want to say it's the best fight I've ever watched, but it's close to it. It was really, really good. And even Colby Kamaru 2 was really fun. It was a little slower, but it was still fun. Those fights were great. I mean, him knocking out what's his face, Jorge Masvidal was fun. So Kamaru doesn't get the credit he deserves. He was a great champion. I don't think the majority are choose, but once you get a proven cheater, um, yeah, Yeah. Honestly, you do have a point. You do have a point. Um, you do have a point. So yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Kamara's definitely cheat as well. Yeah, I think so. I think probably. I think it probably is. But he's got a good chemist, good doctor. I think Armin. I wouldn't be shocked if Armin's on something. There's a lot of guys I think probably are. What do you think was the best UFC event ever? It's a great question. There's a lot of really good events. Uh, Best event ever. I mean, I haven't been watching for that long, to be honest. I started watching around 2020, so I guess I don't know that much. But I thought I did. But one thing that I did watch live is I did watch not Colby, Connor versus Kamaru. What the fuck am I saying? Connor versus Khabib. I watched that fight, and I thought that card was great with Tony Ferguson and on that fight as well. That was a great fight. Um, but if I had to say fights that I've watched personally, what was my favorite? Maybe UFC 300. That card was great from top to bottom, I thought. Um, Also, it wasn't a pay per view, but I thought the UFC card, the Fight Night card from not too long ago in Seattle was amazing. It was like all finishes. The main event was weird, Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong, but outside of that, it was insane. All the fights were insane. So that was great. UFC 301, look it up. All right, I don't remember what it was. Let's see. UFC 301. UFC 301. It was Pantoja Urseg. That fight was great. Aldo and Jonathan Martinez. That fight was actually good. All right. I mean, these fights they're actually good, but this main card is hilarious. Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. What the fuck is this? This was when I actually remember this fight. This is when Hernandez won based upon the fact that Vitor didn't know how to fight. But Michelle Pereira versus Ihor Patera. I mean, that fight was fun. It's kind of a ridiculous fight to be on the main card. Caio Bahalio versus Paul Craig. I mean, yeah, good performance from Caio. I think Caio's good. Hilarious main card, actually. Anything on the prelims? Brito, Orabai. No. It was a hilarious card. I mean, Rufy had that insanely dominant performance versus Malarkey. That was fun. Yeah, this card's not great. The main event was fun though. But hilarious. UFC 295 was really good. I was actually at that. I was actually at that card live. That was tremendous. What was that? Yuri and Pereira. Let me take a look. It was Yuri and Pereira. Great main event. Tom versus Pavlovich. That was really good as well. Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern. That was actually a great fight. Really fun. Benoit versus Matt Frivola. That was insane. Dude, looking through this card, this is insane. This is better than I remember. Lopez versus Pat Sabatini. That was actually a really fun fight as well. Dude, this card's insanely good, bro. Steve Urseg was on the card, the legend. Put on a really good performance against Costa as well, actually. Rebetsky was on the card. I don't remember that fight. Rich Roberts. I think he just dominated him and submitted him early. Sadi Koffers Borishev turned out to be a draw. Kind of weird looking back at that, but that was a really good fight. Early prelims, anything. Jared Gordon actually had a finish over Mark Madsen, so that was fun. Joshua Van was on the card. That was his debut, I believe. And that was a great fight. This card is insane, bro. 295 is a great answer, actually. I think off the top of my head, I think it's 300, but 295 is a really good answer. Really good card. It's trash too. Fight. Yeah, it was insane. I don't know how the fuck that was a pay-per-view. That's part of the reason why I'm happy we're not gonna have to pay pay-per-views anymore. Because I mean, I personally pay for all the pay-per-views. Reason being is, yeah, you can watch it on some of these streaming services, but I always get nervous if it's going to cut out, and I'm really interested in these fights. Like, I have to watch it, so I just usually buy them. But I definitely bought 301. Buying 301 is just ridiculous. That card is ridiculously bad. So I'm happy we don't have to pay for them anymore. Do you think Kaya breaks the Brazilian main event curse? I do. Earlier on, I was kind of leaning with Imavov, but I put a video together. It'll be out on fight week. I kind of think Kyle might figure it out. May figure it out. I know the Brazilian curse is. How many fights in a row has it been? It's been ridiculous, but I think Kyle could figure it out potentially. We'll see. Honestly, 315 was a good card. Let's see. Let's take a look at 315. 315 was JDM Bilal. Yeah, I mean, the names aren't great if I'm going to be honest, but the fights were good. Like JDM versus Bilal was good. Honestly, Shevchenko versus Firo was it good? I wouldn't say it was good. It was okay. Zahabi versus Jose Aldo was actually a great fight. I can't believe they gave it to Zahabi. Ridiculous robbery, in my opinion. But that was actually a great fight. Silva versus Grasso, whatever. It was definitely a dominant performance from Silva. BSD versus an unranked guy, whatever. But I guess it's fine. There were some good fights. Who do you think won Chimaev versus Usman? I thought it should have been a draw. I think it should have been a draw. The first round was definitely a 10-8, but I thought round 2 and 3 Usman may have snuck it out. Round 2, I think he definitely won. I think round 3 was a swing round, if I remember properly. I haven't watched it in a while, but I thought it should have been a draw. Chimaev for sure, but it was a good fight. Yeah, sure. Hey, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm streaming. Boys, this chick is definitely going to sell me something. Just wait for this. It's so annoying, bro. Everyone from Kick just tries to sell me something. I'm not going to buy your whatever you're selling me. I don't know how it's nearly 10 in the first round. Yeah. Marty definitely didn't win the fight, but I think there's an argument it could have been a draw. After that first round, I think I think Hamzat broke his hand, but regardless of that, he kind of slowed down. So I think there's an argument for a draw. A Marty win? Yeah, definitely not. But sorry, I'm in 317. Oh, 317. Yeah, not too long ago. That was a good card. The main event was good. I mean, everybody kind of knew, I feel like, Ilya was going to beat Charles, but still, that was a fun fight. Pantoja versus KKF was, I would say it was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. Royval versus Van was the fight of the year, I think. I don't think anything really tops that one. That was insane. Great fight. Very deserving fight for Van to get a title shot after a fight like that. So that was good. Moicano versus Vanille, honestly, that was a pretty good fight as well. Talbot versus Felipe Lima, that was actually really good, I thought. Prelims-wise, G-Rod essentially killed Jack Hermanson. That was ridiculous. That follow-up shot I was not happy with. But insane knockout. Then Delgado versus Hader Emil. It was only 26 seconds, but it was fun while it lasted. Terrence McKinney versus Borshev. That was a fun fight. Tracy Cortez getting the win. That was whatever. Jacob Smith was okay. The first fight of the night was good too. Alvin Hines versus Deans. That was actually fun. Yeah, that card was good. Holloway. Kick. Oh yeah. I saw that. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Flyweight is so underrated. I agree. I personally think I don't know. It's close for me, but I think flyweight may be the best weight class, in my opinion. You have Pantoja at the top, an amazing fighter, one of the best fighters in the UFC, great champion, but also you have a lot of really good contenders. Joshua Van, Brennan Moreno, maybe you consider Brandon Royval in there. Tetsuda Taira is a legitimate contender. Manel Kopp is a legitimate contender. I think Steve Erceg maybe could. It seems like he lost some confidence. We'll see where Steve looks like in some of his other fights, but maybe you can say Steve. And even there's some unranked guys at that weight class that I think are really good, like Andre Lima and Loner Kavanaugh, who are both fighting pretty soon. I think Loner Kavanaugh is fighting soon on the Shanghai card next week. But for Andre Lima, I thought I heard some news. I don't know. Maybe he's not fighting soon, but I think he's good. So yeah, a lot of talent in that weight class, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of guys, really talented guys at that weight class. But yeah, good stuff at the flyweight division for sure. I just go for the small guys. Always the best. Flyweights are zipping. Always going to war. Yeah, yeah. On one hand, I mean, on one hand, you're not going to see as many finishes, obviously, as other weight classes, and I'm sure a lot of casual fans don't love that. But on the other hand, that's hilarious. He just said that. It's hilarious. But on the other hand, you get like you're more likely to get these like war type fights, like Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. So I personally think it's more fun. But yeah, as you said, casuals. If they don't see a knockout or if they don't see like a ton of blood, they're like, "Oh, this fight sucks." Dude, that's why it sucks. I sometimes I try to do more of streaming, doing like watch alongs for some of these cards. Unfortunately, I'm going away, and I won't be able to do it for this weekend. But I'm gonna try to do more cards watching along on live with you boys. But before that, I watch a lot with my friends, and some of my friends like actually watch the sport. But there's some casuals that I watch with, and it's like the most annoying thing ever when a fight like just starts, or maybe it's not the most fun fight in the world, but it's okay, and someone goes like, "Oh, this fight fucking sucks." It's just like annoying. But I guess whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. Casuals, if see a non-knockout is a boring fight. Um, how far do you think Bryce is going to bantamweight? Uh, I don't think he's going very far. I didn't love his first performance. I really didn't. I thought he should have done better in that fight. So I don't think he's going to go that far, but I guess we'll see. Um, imagine Van when he's 30 plus and in prime. All right, yeah, yeah, crazy, bro, crazy. Yeah, he has a lot more time. The only thing that I will say about, yeah, as you just said, the one thing that I will say is he does take a lot of shots, so he could have a short career. He's really young at this point, and he'll probably have a lot more time before he reaches his prime. But you also have to worry about the damage that he's been taking in a lot of these fights. Like who doesn't love not going out, but as long as you're not Mario Batista, yeah, I agree. I agree. I do agree. Listen, as you said, I mean, knockouts are amazing, wars are amazing, but even sometimes like grappling fights are fun. I thought Movsar versus Aljamain Sterling, I thought that was a great fight, and that was like all grappling. But casuals probably see that fight as a boring one, or even Armin Sarukian versus Gamrot. Casuals probably see that fight as a boring one. I thought it was really fun. So there's more ways to have a fun fight outside of just a knockout, but of course, knockouts are the most fun, the most exciting. That's usually when you have the best moments. Max Holloway knocking out Justin Gaethje with the last second, insanely exciting. And there's a lot of examples of that. Adesanya knocking out Alex Pereira after Pereira was winning the majority of the fight, insane. I mean, it's super fun. And a lot of CTA, yeah. Van's got to worry about that. He's got to be a little bit more defensively sound. You should do a watch along for the prelims of Shanghai. Yeah, if I could make it work. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be here for that card. I'm not gonna be home for that card. I will be away, but also, what time is that card gonna be? It's actually gonna suck for me even more because I'm actually gonna be an hour back from Eastern time, so it's gonna be even earlier than what it normally is for me. An hour earlier. That card starts at prelims start at 3 a.m. So it's gonna start at 2 a.m. Over there. I don't know. I'm probably gonna figure out a way to watch a little bit of it, but it's gonna be tough. Um, Man, it sucks, bro. I really want to do watch alongs, but yeah, I'm gonna miss a couple of these cards. But for the Paris card, I will be home and I will be doing a watch along for that card. I believe that card is gonna be early. Yeah, main card starts at 3, so yeah, I'll do that one. As Van about to get busy. Yeah, hope not. But it's possible. I could see that. Just put on really fun fights, but take a ton of damage along the way. Yeah. That was your rock. No, I know. But yeah. I do want to do watch alongs for some of these fights. But after the trip, we'll get back to it for sure, boys. How often do you stream? Your live for 319? No, I'm not going to be live for 319. I'll be away. But how often do I stream? So I stream every day during the week. Typically, so I guess you're kind of coming at a bad time. So for this next week and part of the week after that, I'm not going to be streaming at all. I may stream once a week for each of those weeks, but typically I stream every single day during the week at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and on weekends I stream 2 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays. And then for certain fights, for certain cards, I'll do a watch along for it. But for this card, I'm not gonna be home, so I'm not gonna be doing it for 319. Uh, it's a really good card as well. That's why I'm at. Yeah, me too. It is actually a really good card. The it's very deep, honestly. A lot of really good fights. I mean, the fact that Loner Kavanaugh and Charles Johnson are on the prelims of a fight night is pretty good. So sucks. Sleep and then wake up and make up. So that's what I always do here. Yeah, I guess. I guess like the early prelims are not that good. Like the first fight that I really care about, like I guess Michelle Pena versus Kyle Dawkins, ridiculous, ridiculous fight. But I guess that could be fun. But really, the first fight that I actually care about would be Loner Kavanaugh and Charles Johnson, which is kind of in the latter half of the prelim. So maybe I could just figure out when that fight would start and wake up early for that, and then watch the whole main card, which the main card will be good as well. I'll probably end up just doing that. But yeah, boys. So as I said, I won't be doing any watch alongs or that many streams. I'll probably figure it out, do one stream next week. But what I will be doing is I will be for 319 specifically, and even Shanghai if I'm up, I will be tweeting about it, about my thoughts on each round, like who I thought won a round or what I thought of specific fights or matchmaking or whatever. So be sure to follow me on X if you guys are on there. I'll just quickly shout out my page here. So here you go, MMA_juicy. Kind of trying to build it up a little bit. And obviously, it's not that big, only 51 followers, but I'm trying to be a little bit more active on here, and I think this is kind of a perfect opportunity to be more active on it. West Coast are cooked for that card, yes. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Europe type hours, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, but even the prelims, decent fights, rip, yeah. Yeah, they are. They are. They definitely are. But because of the hours, I don't even know if I will. I don't know what time the Loner Kavanaugh fight's going to be, but because of the hours, that's probably going to be the one that I shoot for to watch first and then just watch the rest of the main card. But yeah. Shitty hours for US folk, especially on the West Coast. Man. Boys, I'm fucking starving, boys. What should I get? What should I order? Then it's to week breaks. Yeah. Yeah. That is tough. Is it a 2-week break after Shanghai? Between that and Paris? Oh shit, you're right. Fuck. I thought it was a 1-week break. That sucks. Damn, that actually sucks. But at least after that, we'll be getting good fights. At least like we're not gonna have bad fights on paper. That sucks actually. But what are we gonna talk about, boys, for those that 2-week span, 3-week span, even? Unbelievable. Sorry, boys. I think I might get something to eat. I'm fucking starved. I need to eat dinner, bro. It's 10. All right, fuck it. Sorry, boys. All right, my bad. Then the school started back up after that. It's tough, bro. Yeah. Unbelievable. But I guess I will say the silver lining is, as I kind of touched on before, there's a lot of good fights. So the Shanghai card, timing kind of sucks, but it's good. And then the Paris card has a really good main and co-main. The week after that, the main is good. The rest kind of sucks, but the main is good. After that, the main is good again, and there's some decent fights on Perth. Then 320 we have 2 pay-per-views in October. So the fights are going to get good, and even in November and December, the fights are going to get really good. So definitely some stuff to look forward to. But I guess for that like 3 week stretch, especially if you're not going to watch the Shanghai card, yeah, it kind of sucks. But yeah, what are you gonna do? But anyways, boys, we've been streaming for like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. I appreciate everybody for being here. I think I'm going to hop off at this point. But I will be streaming tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to join if you're interested. One day before UFC 319. Let's fucking go, boys. I'm excited. But yeah. Anyways, thanks everybody for being here. I'll see you boys tomorrow. Check out a video. I will be posting a breakdown on Jared Cannonier tomorrow. Check out the Aaron Pico video if you guys haven't seen it already. But anyways, peace out, boys. I'll see you boys tomorrow.